the world's only Indian Jewish comedian. Please put your hands together and help us welcome Samson Koletkar.
Hey everybody! Wow. Thank you. Appreciate that. That's a lot of applause, a lot of enthusiasm. Good luck. I hope it doesn't go to waste. Because you guys went really cheerful and you're like, why did I do that at the beginning? Should have waited till the end. Hey, Jeff mentioned Indian Jewish comedian. You realize the Venn diagram is just me. Somebody likes a math joke, okay? Give it up for Jeff one more time, everybody, hosting the show, doing an amazing job, yes? Yeah. Because, I like the fact that he gets the introduction right. He did say world's only Indian Jewish stand-up comedian, which is technically correct. In the past, I have also been introduced as the world's only Indian Jew. I'm like, dude, I have parents. Oh, I like Jeff. This is good. Oh, you guys are awesome. I love this. This is actually my favorite part of the week. I love to talk to an audience. I've also realized audiences like to talk to me too. Sometimes during the show, usually afterwards, they give me some feedback. Tell me things like, go back to where you come from. Which my friends also think is racist. And I'm like, dude, at least that person is a considerate racist. I will explain. I know that I look ambiguous. Unless I tell them where I'm from, they're not sure where I'm from. So they're like, hey, I don't like you and I want you to go back. But I don't want you to go back to the wrong country and get into trouble. You know where you're from? Just go back to where you come from. Be safe in your own country. That is one considerate racist. I like this guy. Also, that phrase, go back to where you come from, it's a very American experience for me. Only heard it in America. Because I grew up in India, which, like America, is also a melting pot of the world where people from around the world have lived together for centuries. But unlike America, in India, you can argue and disagree with anybody on anything. Nobody ever tells you to go back to where you come from. In India, they tell you to go to Pakistan. It's the same thing everywhere. Welcome to planet Earth. And I'm glad you guys laughed at the joke. One time I told that joke, there was an Indian couple sitting in the front like you guys are. And while the audience started laughing, they started discussing. And I was like, what are you guys discussing? They go, oh, we are from Pakistan. And I said, well, in that case, where do people in Pakistan tell you to go when they don't like your jokes? Because I'm genuinely curious, okay? I want to go to every single country in the world and tell a joke that is offensive to that country. Just to see where they send you next. Call it the Offensive Joke World Comedy Tour. Stopping by in Sunnyvale tonight. Thanks for coming. You can tell me where to go next. What's that? Costco? That's a country by itself, I get it. So thanks for the suggestion. I will keep that in my tour list. Appreciate that. Just curious, any Pakistanis in the audience? Nobody? Because I ask that at every show, right? I've met Pakistani folks in my audience and I've asked them, like, where do you actually tell people to go when you don't like their jokes? And a lot of them have said, we just tell them to go to hell. And I was like, that is not good advertising for Pakistan. If the only place you think worse than you is hell, Like, dude, there's 190 plus countries. Pick one. Doesn't have to be right. Just keep my tour going. At least send me to Costco. So thank you. This is fun. I know we've got people from all over the place. How many of you live in the South Bay? Make some noise if you live in the South Bay. Clap it here. Oh wow! I expected more than that, but how many from the East Bay? Do we have East Bay in the audience? Yes. All right. We got some howlers in the front. That's good. Where else? Peninsula. All right. We got some from there. Did anybody come from San Francisco, the city, all the way? No, nobody. Somebody got a phone call though. Okay. That's what happens when you come late and miss the opening instructions. So, thank you, Kanita. It's a good friend of mine. That's what happens when you invite friends too. No, this is great. Where else? Did anybody travel from out of town? Oh, where from?
Sacramento.
Sacramento. Okay, I was expecting like real out of town, but yeah, Sacramento counts. That's fine. It's 2 hours away, so thanks for coming down all the way. What brings you guys here? Oh, okay. You came to see a comic and then you were like, I'm getting a company, so I'm coming. You guys sat in the front too. That's good. Where do you live? San Mateo. Okay, that would have been the peninsula, but I didn't see you make noise. You were like, I don't want to be in the front and talk. But that's good. Friends? School friends? What took you to Sacramento? Did you move down to San Mateo?
From San Mateo, San Diego.
Oh, you both from San Mateo? You went to school in San Diego? You got back to San Mateo because parents' house? And you went to Sacramento, which doesn't sound much better either, but that's okay. So you both are failing in life. Okay, all right, this is good. The perfect target audience for my failed comedy career. Yay! No. Thank you. Somebody clapped for that. No, I'm glad you guys are here. You see San Diego is good? Yes, there we go. I generally, it's nice to see younger folks at my shows because I feel like I used to run shows before COVID and a lot of people used to come, and then now I can see a lot of empty seats in between. I assume some of my crowd has just died in COVID. I'm glad you guys survived. I appreciate that. Doing good. See? You had fun so far? Priyam did good? Yes? Okay, good. I'm glad you guys are still smiling. Okay. And then I see a lot of married folks in the audience, right? We got some married people? Yes? Okay. Who thinks they're married the longest? Everybody's looking at each other like, how long has it been? I've lost track. 29, 26. Okay, we got 29. Who's 29? Oh, right there. Anybody beyond 29? What? 30. But you're here by yourself. Okay. You caught that too. Come to you in a second. So basically 29, you guys are still together. 30, that's what happens. That's your future. I look forward to seeing both of you next year at my shows one at a time. That'll be nice. All right, we got 30 and then you raised a hand? 44. Wow, okay. That got an applause. 44. Anybody beats 44? No, okay. Yay! You win nothing. But that's amazing. 44 is long, that's good. See, I'm telling you, I like to talk to the audience, right? This is what I do a lot. And somebody's already. That's okay. This is what I'm talking about. Young folks come to my show, they're like, I need a bathroom break. I've sat through one joke and I can't take this anymore. Did she take her phone with her? She's not coming back out for an hour. Okay? Oh boy, this is good. A lot of people from East Bay. I live in the East Bay myself. I used to live in Fremont because obviously. Used to live in Fremont, but then my marriage went wayward, which is why, ladies and gentlemen, I now live in Hayward. Oh, somebody's clapping for Hayward. Wow, that has never happened in the history of Hayward, everybody. Okay. Do you guys live there? Have you lived there? No, you just...
I've been there once.
You've been there once. Did you run out of gas and took over? Like, I need to fill up. Hey, Hayward, okay. That's nice. What I've also realized is Hayward has now become the land of single Asian dads. SAD for short. Because I moved there in the pandemic, got a townhome, wanted to rent the downstairs. Half the rental applications I received were other Asian dads from Fremont, whose marriage also went wayward. So they were also moving to Hayward. I was like, welcome to the sad land. I also remember before I ever lived in Hayward, I asked this question to a lot of people, where they live. I like to know where people are from. And I was talking to somebody who was from Hayward. I asked, like, where do you live? And he goes, I live in the Hayward Hills. And I said, you mean Hayward? He goes, no, Hayward Hills. So Hayward. And he goes, no, Hayward Hills. So just to clarify, I live in the Hayward Hills, everybody. Thank you very much. I understand the value of the hills. It's an important distinction. The one time you were there, I don't know if you saw this when I moved to Hayward. There are a whole bunch of signs all over the city which says, Hayward, no room for racism. Which to me sounds like Hayward is so full of racists that there is no room. For racism. Like, dude, what did I get myself into? I should go back to Fremont, they still have some room for racism. Probably why Fremont keeps getting voted as one of the happiest cities in America every year. You guys know this, right? Every single year, one of the happiest cities, because Fremont has figured out in America to be happy, you need some room for racism. All right, everybody? So work your way up. Also, since I've lived in the East Bay, I have come to realize that I live in the poor part of the Bay Area. And I realized I live in the poor part of the Bay Area because every time I got on a bridge, the first thing I did was pay a toll. Like from Hayward to San Mateo, I had to pay a toll, not the other way around. Fremont to Menlo Park, I pay toll, not the other way around. Oakland to San Francisco, I pay toll, not the other way around. Richmond to San Rafael, I pay toll, not the other way around. And like, what is going on? Why is it that they collect the toll the direction that they do and not the other direction? So I did some research, and then I also had to research more because there are 8 toll bridges in the Bay Area. 7 of them connect to the East Bay. So the other 3, from Carquinez to Vallejo, you pay toll, not the other way around. From Martinez to Benicia, you pay toll, not the other way around. And then from Antioch to whatever's on the other side of that bridge, you pay toll, not the other way around. Basically, if you want to escape the poor part of the Bay Area, it's going to cost you. You can't escape poverty without getting poorer, okay? And so I was curious, like, why? Why do they charge the toll in the direction that they do? And it said 2 things. One, the toll is only charged in one direction in order to avoid congestion. And I'm like, that's good, that's thoughtful. But why in this and not in that direction? And then it said the toll is collected when a large population moves to an urban center of employment. Which basically means that if you live in the poor part of the Bay Area and you want to get to the rich part of the Bay Area to make some money, first of all, slow down. Get in a line, pay a toll, come in one at a time. We don't want too many of you over here. And then after you're done, whatever you need to do, get the hell out, all right? Don't slow down, don't get in a line, don't pay a toll, just keep going, go back to where you came from, all right? I don't want to see you. Yeah. Go back to those other poor people you call family. Have a good time. That makes everybody sad. Then I did some more research because I was feeling sad too. I'm like, doesn't feel good. But then I found out the Alameda County, 5th richest county in California. So we are fine. Everybody's happy again. Yay. Your head came back into focus. Your hand is off because you were like shaking your head earlier. Do you live in the East Bay? No? Yeah?
No, Cupertino.
Oh, okay. Cupertino it is. Anyway, I'd also heard all my life that a human life is priceless. Not in the Bay Area. Because the other day, I was driving my kids from Fremont to Hayward. We got in the fast track lane. And the toll to my exit was $14. But because there was 3 of us in the car, we were driving for free. And I turned to my kids and I said, look, right now, each of you is worth $7. And your worth goes up and down depending on the time of the day. And on nights and weekends, you are worthless. And some parents clapping. You got a kid with you? Good job. Okay. I see the 3 of you came in. Free access. I get it. Okay. I also look at a lot of signs. I don't know if you guys saw this as we were coming out of the pandemic. There were a whole bunch of billboards that went up all over the Bay Area for Phoong. All right, some of you have seen them. If you have not yet, some of those billboards are still up there. When you're driving around the Bay Area next time, just look up from your phone. You might see one. This is what that billboard says. Something wrong, call Phoong. The first time I saw that billboard, I was also driving. I immediately called. I was like, hello, Phoong. Something's wrong. My check engine light is on. Can you help? No? Okay, hang up. Such a vague sign, no? Something wrong, call Phoong. But it rhymes really well and it got stuck in my head and I have this urge to keep calling her every few hours. I wake up the next morning, first thing I can think of, hello Phoong. Something's wrong. My toilet is broken, can you help? No again, okay, hang up. But you know what I found out is that Phoong has a fan club in the Bay Area. And those fans like to go to comedy shows. Sure enough, they were at my show. Heard the whole joke. Had some feedback for me at the end. One of them comes up to me, she goes, you know, Phoong is an inspiration to a lot of us. She has worked really hard. She started from nothing. She has become something. I'm like, relax, Phoong. I'm not doubting her credentials. She's obviously doing well, buying vague billboards all over the Bay Area that bring her no business. Like, who are you, her campaign manager? Why are you throwing all these words at me? Put some of those words on the billboards. That would be more useful. Yeah, dude, I was so mad that night. As soon as I got home, the first thing I did. Hello, Phoong. Something's wrong. Your fans don't get jokes. Can you help? No again? Okay, hang up. Hasn't solved a single problem of mine. False advertising, okay? I also heard this song recently. It's an old classic by Joe Cocker. And the song goes, you are so beautiful to me. Do you guys know this song? Oh, I just heard it for the first time. Beautiful song. But why does he say to me? I think he should have stopped at you are so beautiful. That's nice. Putting to me at the end sounds like she has a really good personality. Don't say to me at the end of anything nice. It's the worst thing to say, right? I don't want any of you come up to me at the end of the show and be like, Samson, you are so funny. To me. You know, I'm watching you laugh, and I also realize, like, you laugh and then you cover your mouth, like, whoop. Like, you came here to laugh, don't hold it in, just go like, ha 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 ha. It's, ha ha is nice. That makes me happy too. Don't hold it in. Now I made you conscious. Now you don't care? Okay, good. If it worries you, call Phoong, okay? She won't help. You know, I also grew up watching a lot of horror movies. And what I found interesting is, in the Hollywood horror movies, the tool to fight the ghost is a cross. Anytime you pull out a cross, the ghost is like, oh no, can't cross the cross. But I also grew up watching a lot of Bollywood horror movies, in which the tool to fight the ghost is like a trishul, the three-pronged spear, right? You pull out the trishul and the ghost is like, oh no, this fool bought a trishul. Which made me realize that religion will haunt you even after you die. And why are all the ghosts in the movies so religious? Dude, you died, you're free. Why do you continue to suffer? Which also made me wonder, are there any atheist ghosts? And if there are, how do you scare them? What are you going to show them? I'd be like, hey, here's a business card of a psychiatrist. Like, oh. Because you know, none of the symbols will work, right? What are you going to like, hey, here's the cross, not working. Here's the trishul, not working. Hello, Phoong, something's wrong. My symbols don't work, can you help? No, okay, hang up, she won't help. Thank you. I'm also a big fan of roller coasters. One person, thank you. My favorite thing to do on a roller coaster is sit in the front row of a roller coaster. Ooh. So much so that if it's my turn to go and it's not the front row, then I'll just wait and let the people pass so that I can take the front row in the next one. You're nodding your head, you do that too, right? One time I did that, my friend who was with me, he goes, dude, why do you sit in the front? If something goes wrong, you will be the first one to die. And I said, okay, let's say I die first. You are sitting behind me. In that time, what are you going to do? You don't even have time to go, hello, and like, what? Yeah, she got billboards, I got jokes, everybody. They're gonna keep running all night long, buckle in. But then I asked my friend, like, how did you come to that conclusion? Why would sitting in the front row of a roller coaster mean that I will be the first one to die? And my friend goes, because it's obvious. If you sit in the front, you will be the first one to die. When I said, oh, now that you repeat the same shit twice, it makes so much more sense. That's what was missing, repetition. Just repeat the same thing, one word at a time, just slower and snarkier, that suggests you are smart, I am stupid, then I get it. So at this point, I picked out my phone and I Googled all the ways that people have died on a roller coaster in America. And I found 9 ways. 9 ways that people in America have died on a roller coaster. Number 1, the seatbelt lock malfunctioned. Number 2, the seatbelt broke. And I'm thinking, what's the difference? Sounds the same to me. Number 3, somebody removed their seatbelt in the middle of the ride. And I was like, wow, there's a bigger thrill seeker than me. Salute to you, my friend. Although you can't see me salute, but in spirits. Number 4, somebody stood up in the middle of the ride and got decapitated. And I'm thinking, don't you have to remove the seatbelt in order to stand up? Why are those two things separate? Who's embellishing this list? Keep it short, buddy. I have a right to catch. Also, one time at the end of my show, this woman walks up to me and she goes, my grandmother was there. And I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, my grandmother was in the roller coaster sitting behind the guy who stood up. And when he got decapitated, his head fell in her lap. And then she left. And I'm like, whoa, hold on, I have some questions. Like, what did your grandmother do? Did she panic like a normal human being and was like, and just threw it to somebody else who caught it and was like, and then threw it to somebody else who caught it and was like, and just, was it like a game of head potato? Or your grandmother all calm and collected, held on to the head till the end of the ride and then was like, oh, looks like you dropped something. Like what? Did she do? Number 5. A piece of metal from the track broke, fell on a rider, and the rider died. And when I was guessing all the ways people might have died as I was Googling this, like I could imagine all the seatbelt malfunction, the decapitation, like even the joke that I did, right? I didn't see that coming. Just like that rider. Headshake is right, okay. Number 6, when the coaster was making the first loop, the last car detached, fell over, and some people died. Number 7, when the coaster was climbing that first big hill, the cable that pulls it up snapped, broke. The anti-lock brakes that are supposed to prevent the coaster from rolling back failed, and the coaster went backwards out of control, and some people died. And number 8, the entire roller coaster derailed, and some people died. And I'm thinking, none of these involve the first row. Now, the only front row accident that resulted in a death happened with this one person who was in a wheelchair. You're ahead of the game, buddy, okay? Was in a wheelchair because they had lost both their legs, went on the ride, got ejected in the middle of the ride because the lap belts couldn't hold them down because they had no legs. And I felt just as guilty as some of you are while laughing. Because I read that, I was like, dude, this is so sad, but funny. Right? Because that's the one you can actually visualize. I'm sitting there visualizing like it's something out of a cartoon film where this guy's like, with like sound effects and everything. Also, I don't think that counts as a front row accident. This dude could have been sitting anywhere in the coaster. Still gone flying. So I showed the whole list to my friend. I was like, look, dude, 9 ways people have died on a roller coaster. None of them involve the first row. And my friend goes, okay, then go sit in the front. And if something goes wrong, don't tell me I didn't warn you. So now I Googled the average number of deaths in America due to a roller coaster accident. The number? 4. Then I Googled the average number of deaths in America because of a car accident. Because that's what the guy's thinking about, right? You're sitting in the front row of a car, you get in a head-on collision. There are no head-on collisions on a roller coaster. Number of car accident deaths every year on an average, 40,000. I told my friend, look man, there's a 1,000,000% higher chance that you and I will die on a ride back home. Why don't we go enjoy the last potential roller coaster ride of our life? Which we did. And I forced my friend to sit in the front with me. And in the middle of the ride, I removed his seatbelt. Okay. Some of you are clapping for me killing my friend. I like you guys. You guys are a fun crowd. I'll tell you this. I was talking about a lot of questions about where you live and how long you've been married, etc. I ask people a lot of questions. The one question I never ask anybody is what's their name, because I have a bad name memory. Can't remember names. You know what I'm talking about? Like I'll meet somebody new. I'm like, hey, I'm Samson. They're like, hey, I'm so-and-so. 2 minutes into the conversation. Oh no. What's your name? You just told me your name. I should remember your name. It is terrible, but I found out there's medical research that suggests there's a part of the brain that remembers names, and that part has not evolved equally for everybody. Exhibit A. But I can't use that as an excuse in a conversation. I can't be like, oh, sorry, I forgot your name. It's not you, it's me, my brain, it hasn't evolved. Like that doesn't help. I also don't remember details that people tell me about themselves because I don't care. I just don't. I meet somebody new, they're telling me all about themselves. They're all like, me. I'm like, dude, what is your name? Can't even remember your name. How do I remember anything else? But it does make it very awkward. Sometimes I meet somebody at a party or an event. They'll walk up to me and be like, hey, Samson, the last time we met, you had said so and so and so. How is all of that going? First of all, who the hell are you? Second, how do you remember so much about me? And that is where I feel really miserable. I'm like, dude, how selfish and self-centered am I that they remember so much about me and I remember nothing about them? Until recently, a friend told me, you know, Samson, the reason I remember so much about you so easily is because you are a really good storyteller. So when you tell me things about your life, you say it in such an interesting way, it's very easy for me to remember. I'm like, okay, so it's not me. It's you. You are a boring, uninteresting person who tells boring, uninteresting stories. No wonder I don't remember anything about you. It's like, learn to tell better stories and I'll remember you too. See what I realized when I do that joke? Some of you laughed, but a lot of you seem to be self-reflecting. Because I see a lot of thinking going on right now. It's like, oh, is that why? That is why nobody remembers you, all right? Learn to tell better stories. I also love doing this. I mentioned I like doing stand-up. And I've been thinking about like, why for so long? What has kept me going on for so long? And I realized this is the only place where I get to talk uninterrupted. Which is amazing. Because I love to talk. And I like people who like to listen to me talk. Which is what makes you a good audience. Because you are listening, I am the only one talking. This is perfect. You realize this doesn't happen in the rest of my life? Like if I showed up to work on Monday, my colleagues are all like, hey, how was your weekend? I'd be like, yeah, it was nice. We did a little show in Sunnyvale. We had one guy all the way from Sacramento. Somebody told me to go to Costco. They were a good audience. We had a good show. It was a good night. And my colleague is like, oh, that sounds fun. You know what I did on my weekend? No, I don't care what you did on your weekend. Also, why are you talking? You are a boring, uninteresting person. I'm not going to remember anything you say. Let me talk. I'm the interesting one. You should shut the hell up. Now, of course, that is what I'm thinking. I couldn't say that out loud, right? Because that is a call to the HR. So then I had to pretend like, oh, what did you do on your weekend? Oh, so shut the hell up, dude. Like, I don't care. A lot of you work in corporate. That's good. I've also realized, generally speaking, that a comedy audience is just very smart and mature. There's also medical research behind that, which says it takes an evolved sense of humor to understand irony and satire and sarcasm. Have you ever tried telling a joke to a person who just doesn't get it? What a delightful feeling, no? Because I'm like, dude, here I am trying to infuse my comedy with sarcasm, but it seems to get lost between your two ears in a deep white chasm. Only some of you got that joke. It got lost in a lot of chasms tonight. You were thinking it, thank you. Also, I have noticed, generally speaking, that a comedy audience is just very calm and relaxed, non-violent, non-threatening, docile, lazy. Lazy, all right? Like, let's be honest, all of you guys are lazy. Because you could have been doing something way more fun and exciting tonight. You could have gone to a dance club. You could have gone hiking in the middle of the night, whatever the hell that is. But you all were like, nah, that is way too much energy, way too much adrenaline. What I want to do is just go sit in a dark room and then not do much. Just an occasional haha, not too much. Put my hands together and clap. Hell no, that's way too much energy. This is perfect. You guys are a lazy audience. But you realize you're also the right amount of lazy? Because if you were any lazier, you would not even be here. So, it's like the perfect amount. And here's why I love this lazy energy. Guess what I'm doing after I go home after the show? Sitting in the dark, not doing much. This is pretty much me in a couple of hours from now. And see, I'm making fun of you and you guys are still laughing because smart and mature, you check that box too. And am I afraid of making fun of you? No. Why? Because non-violent and non-threatening. You check every single box of a good audience. This is why I love doing this. Perfect. You guys really took the lazy too hard, you guys did. Laugh too much at that joke. Uh-oh, did our batteries die? Check. Oh, we're back. All right. I'm my own tech support, everybody. Calm down. Yes. All right, switching gears. I'm also a big fan of proverbs in the English language. You know, proverbs like, if you fail to prepare, prepare to fail. A lot of wisdom captured in a few words. And I've been collecting proverbs all my life, but the longer I've done that, the more I've come to realize not all of them are really that wise. Some of them are just contradictory to each other. And I'll give you some examples of proverbs that are contradictory and confusing. You guys must have heard this. A lot of people love to say, put your best foot forward, but save the best for last. Which one is it? Also, I think both of those proverbs, pretty terrible advice. Okay, put your best foot forward, don't. Because now you have set the bar way too high. And let's be honest, none of us is good enough to keep meeting that high bar all the time. So all you're going to do is disappoint people. So how about just put a foot forward? Live a calm, relaxed life. Don't take on so much stress. And save the best for last, also something I believed in strongly, especially growing up as a child. When I sat down to eat, I would take my favorite thing and I'd put it aside because I wanted to save the best for last, until I realized, what if I die? Choking on the shitty food I don't like in the first place. Like, why did I do that? I think we should just have the best and then don't have the rest. Sounds like a better way to live. Let's make that a proverb. One person's on board. 2, 3, 4. Oh, okay. Some of you are on board. Here's another example. You guys heard this one? A stitch in time saves 9. No. See, it's not a very popular American proverb. A stitch in time saves 9 very literally means if there's a tear in the cloth and you put 1 stitch now, it prevents the cloth from tearing more and having to put 9 stitches later on. So like, do a little bit of work now, you can save a lot of work later. A stitch in time saves 9. And suddenly this feels less like a comedy show, more like a TED Talk. Because I see some of you going, Who knew we were getting entertained and educated? So a stitch in time saves 9, but we will cross the bridge when we get to it. Again, which one is it? Do you want me to do things as quickly as possible or as late as possible? Also, whoever came up with, we will cross the bridge when we get to it, I don't think understands how bridges work. That is when you cross a bridge. When you get to it. Has there ever been a person in the history of bridges that crossed one before they got to it? Why is that even a proverb? And how did that even come about? Was it some genius kid walking around with his father centuries ago and he's like, "Ooh, daddy, what is that?" "Ooh, son, that is a bridge. I want to cross it right now." "Calm down, son. We will cross the bridge when we get to it." Like, "Oh, daddy, that is so wise. I want to go tell the whole world." Why? Here's one more. Actions speak louder than words, which I actually like, all right? It's one of my favorite proverbs. I live by that. Actions speak louder than words, but a cut from a word cuts deeper than a cut from a sword. Which literally means words can hurt more. The next time somebody says that to me, I am going to throw every insult and every slur and everything mean and everything nasty over and over and over and over till they can't take it anymore. And when they've had enough, I will stab them. And be like, what hurts more now? The stabby? Of course it does. You know why? Because actions speak louder than words. Now put your best foot forward and go get a stitch in time. You didn't see me stabbing somebody? Things have changed. That's what Hayward does. No, okay. Here's one more. You guys have heard this one. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. Only if I like you. If you are a boring, uninteresting person, out of sight, out of mind. What happened here? Don't say sorry, I'm curious. You guys really enjoyed that one. Like, you had like a high five, like, yes. Care to share? You were talking about a friend. Is that the one you still miss or is it the one that you forgot? Well, the friend is not here, so out of sight, out of mind. Okay, I get it. Thank you. Welcome back. Do I have more? Yes, I do. Buckle in, everybody. Here's one more, okay? You guys heard this one as well. Dress for the job you want, not the job you have. But live in the moment. Once again, dress for the job you want, not the job you have. I would love to show up at my workplace wearing pajamas. And when my boss is like, "Dude, what the hell are you wearing?" I'd be like, "I am dressed for the job I don't want. I don't want to work here because I don't like you. I show up every Monday morning. I don't hear you tell me things like a stitch in time saves 9. I'll stab you too, dude. Like, shut the hell up. I don't want to hear any stupid proverbs." And live in the moment, once again, duh. That is the default setting. What else do you do in the moment? When else do you live? And I get the whole philosophical idea of don't worry about the future, don't regret the past, live in the moment. And I'm like, what if worrying about the future and regretting the past is the way I like to live in the moment? Why are you ruining my moment? I will stab you too, all right? I'm on a stabbing spree right now. Don't bug me with stupid proverbs. Here's one more. Oh. First impression is the last impression, but don't judge a book by its cover. Now, look, if first impression is the last impression, then you are a judgmental asshole. And don't judge a book by its cover. Nice words, but let's be honest, we all do. You think I have time to read a book? Every single book that comes along in my life. Dude, I don't even read the user agreement before I give up all my rights and I click I agree. You think I'm going to read a book? No, I'm going to judge you as soon as I see you, because for me, first impression is the last impression. I am that judgmental asshole, so put your best foot forward. Here's one more. Oh my goodness, he keeps going on. How do we get home? Here's one more. You guys heard this one? When you have not what you like, you must like what you have. Again, TED Talk? Okay. Basically, it tells you to learn to be content. Don't be greedy. Don't always want more. When you have not what you like, you must like what you have. But if at first you don't succeed, try and try again. Now look, if at first you don't succeed, try and try again is a guaranteed way of getting a restraining order. And when you have not what you like, you must like what you have. Sounds like a quote from a married person. Like, how long have you been married? 44 years. What's the secret? Well, when you have not what you like, you must like what you have. Have fun driving back, couples. That's gonna make for a fun Thanksgiving conversation. Alright, here's one more proverb, okay? I don't have an opposite. Oh my God. I don't have an opposite for this one, but it's a proverb that I hate the most annoying proverb, because it comes from the worst group of people on the face of this planet. That group is morning people. The worst. And I can safely assume none of the morning people are here, because it's too late for you to be having fun, okay? Because this is what I don't get, okay? I love to stay up late in the night, and my morning roommates were always like, dude, you should go to sleep. I'm like, why? Like, because I have to get up early in the morning. It's like, then you go to sleep. Why are you ruining my night? I'll go to sleep when I like, my body, my choice, okay? And then they'll ruin my morning because they wake up early and now they don't care that I'm sleeping. Why do you people exist? And then the thing that bugs me the most is they like to preach with their favorite proverb, the early bird gets the worm. And I'm like, dude, what about the worm? Do you think they're preaching that in the worm kingdom? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure the worms are like, dude, what are you doing early in the morning? Go back to sleep. You want to die? Also, why does every morning person think that they are the bird? What, are you just better than us, just flying high above the rest of us? You know what happens to the early bird? They get shot by the early hunter. That's right. The early hunter shoots the bird, so learn to keep your mouth shut, okay? Okay, that's the end of that, everybody. Calm down, it's okay. We're done, yes, okay. Switching gears a bit, I also find it very confusing that a cross is the symbol of Christianity. Because I see one everywhere. There is a cross on every single church. There are crosses put up across towns in America. And I find it confusing because Christians also believe in the second coming of Jesus. And I'm like, dude, if you want Jesus to come back, don't put up empty crosses everywhere. That doesn't look like an invitation. That looks like a threat. It's like, what are you saying? Hey, Jesus, welcome back. You see that empty cross? You know what's missing up there? Have you imagined what would happen if Jesus actually came back? Saw all these empty crosses everywhere? What would Jesus do? Probably, hello, and Phoong. Something's wrong. I see empty crosses everywhere. Can you help? No? Okay, heck up. Look, all I'm saying is if you really want Jesus to come back, burn those crosses. Come on, this is America. We know how to do it, right? Ooh. Do you guys think maybe, just maybe, that was the whole agenda of the KKK all along? We just misunderstood them. Ooh, is that where the line was, Sunnyvale? Yeah, because look, I know every comedy show there is a line the comedian is not supposed to cross, and a lot of you were very clear at that point, like, hey buddy, that was the line, you just crossed it. Go back to where you come from. Like, okay. Thanks for the feedback. And for the few of you who laughed, I will see you in hell. Yeah. We can ride some roller coasters there. All right. You guys having fun? Good so far? All right, everybody. I'm going to wrap up with one last thing, okay? Here's the other thing. I've also heard a lot of people say that the hardest job in the world is being a mother. One child is clapping. Is that your kid? Right? That's what everybody says. The hardest job in the world is being a mother, and I don't think so. That statement is mathematically and logically false. And I am a math major. I will show you my math, because a lot of you look very skeptical right now. Because look, first of all, how do we identify a hard job? What makes a job hard? A job is hard because very few people are able to do it well. A lot of people struggle at hard jobs, right? That's the whole definition of a hard job. The harder the job, the fewer the people that can do it well. More people struggle at harder jobs. So if being a mother is the hardest job in the world, where are all the terrible mothers? Let's do a math experiment. Clap if you are with, or have a terrible mother. 4. 4 of you clap. Everybody should be clapping at that. That would make the job hard. Barely anybody clapping. Not that hard a job. Pure math, can't go wrong. I told you I've done the math, okay? Look, all I'm saying is if the entire eligible population for a job is amazing at it, not that hard a job. Here's my other problem with that whole belief. Is if I actually see a mother behaving terribly, I can't say a word to her. Right? If I'm at some store, some mother is yelling at a child, I can't walk up to her and be like, hey, you're being a terrible mother, stop being a terrible mother. I can't say that. Because what am I immediately told? Hey, leave her alone. She is doing the best she can. What? Obviously not. Doing the best she can. If that is true, what about the child that she's yelling at? Isn't the child also doing the best he can? Why is the child's best not good enough, but the mother's best is? Like, how does that equate? Another mathematically imbalanced equation, all right? I'm telling you, everybody, it's all in the math. I've done the math, okay? Once again, all I'm saying is when your best isn't good enough, do better. And I realize at this point that the laughter in the room has dwindled. I can hear you guys not laughing. Some of you might have some feedback for me at the end. Because this is what I've been told in the past, okay? People have come up to me after the show and said things like, dude, first of all, you can't judge because you are not a mother. You don't know what it's like to be a mother. You will never be a mother, so you can't judge. I see a lot of your heads are nodding, a lot of you are looking at me in silence. You guys agree? Yeah? Okay, well, in that case, let's move on to a completely different joke. All right? Something that can hopefully bring us all back together again. So how about we talk about US presidents? Look, I have a couple of quick questions, pop quizzes, okay? The current US president, Donald Trump, do you guys think he's doing a good job or not a good job? What do you guys think? See a lot of thumbs down, boo. Okay, what about the previous president? Joe Biden, good job, not a good job? Some thumbs up, down, in the middle? Okay. Do you guys think Kamala Harris would have made a good president? No, yes, okay. What about Hillary Clinton? You think she would have made a good president? No, yes, okay, mixed reactions again. Well, you know what? It doesn't matter what you think because you are not a president, you don't know what it's like to be a president, and you will never be a president. Yeah, you see how brilliant that argument is? And now that I have everybody back on track, I have to admit that joke deserved way more than you guys gave it so far. But I do understand that as an audience, you are doing the best you can. You should do better. And here's how I know that joke is funny. A few months ago, I told that joke to my mom. My mom hears the whole joke and she goes, what? Who says being a mother is the hardest job in the world? It's the easiest job in the world. And that was the moment I realized my mom is a really good mother. Which is why it's easy for her. Because you know the ones who are good, they're just so good naturally. It just comes to them easily. They just do it. They don't complain. It's the shitty ones who are always complaining. So ever since I've had that discussion with my mom, now anytime I hear anybody tell me, you know, being a mother is the hardest job in the world, I'm like, no, it isn't. You suck. Stop complaining and do better. And look, here's what I think is the hardest job in the world. I think the hardest job in the world is being a man. Being a man is the hardest job in the world, which is why there are so many terrible men. Once again, clap if you are with or know a terrible man. Yeah, see how many of you clapping right now? Nobody clap for terrible mothers. You see my point? The math can't go wrong. I told you I've done the math, okay? And look, ladies, if you ever walk up to me and you tell me, you know, that man, he is being a terrible man, he is behaving terribly, I will never say to you, oh, you know, he's doing the best he can, all right? I will never say that. What I will say is, yes, you are absolutely right. He is being a terrible man because he is doing the hardest job in the world. Cut that poor guy some slack. And I should clarify at this point, if any of you still thinks that joke not so funny, do remember that I am doing the best I can. And if you don't think so, well, you're not a comedian, so shut up. All right, I see how sometimes some of you try to start an applause break and the rest of them are like, remember, we are lazy. No. Thank you, I appreciate that. I will leave you with a couple of last things. One is I saw this post on Facebook recently, which said, sometimes all the therapy in the world you need is talking to your sister. So I reposted that on my Facebook, tagged my sister, and I wrote, sometimes all the therapy in the world you need is because of talking to your sister. My mom liked that post too. But my dad got really mad, immediately commented, hey, leave your sister alone, she's doing the best she can. All right, listen everybody. You guys have been fun. This is last thing that I'll leave you guys with, okay? There's one question that I have, which is, have you ever really thought about how good your mother really is? Because look, everybody thinks their mother is great. I asked the question earlier, barely anybody clapped. Most people think their mother is great, but do you really know? You think you know, but here's how you actually find out. Go back home tonight, have a good night's sleep, wake up tomorrow morning, the first thing, call your mom. Your mom's gonna be like, hey, my child, what a pleasant surprise. Calling me on a Sunday morning. You never call me on a Sunday morning. It's so nice to hear your voice. Be like, shut up, mom. I have one simple but important question to ask. Do you think being a mother is the hardest job in the world? And if your mother goes, what? Of course not. It's the easiest job in the world. Then congratulations. You, like me, have an amazing mom. But if you go, hey, mom, do you think being a mother is the hardest job in the world? And your mother goes, of course it is. Be like, oh no, mom, wrong answer. You suck. You should do better. And if you want to understand why you suck, go watch this Indian Jewish comedian. And he'll explain to you perfectly, logically, and mathematically why you suck, okay? And I know the rest of that phone conversation is going to get very awkward, like it is in this room right now. You might not know how to end the call, so do me one last favor before you hang up on your mom. Make sure to tell your mom, look, mom, no matter what happens, you will always be the best mother in the world to me. You guys have been an absolutely fantastic audience to me. Thank you so much for coming out, everybody, and supporting the show. That is the end of our show, which means you guys can all go back to where you came from. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Samson Koletkar. Let him hear it.